Hello, this is Shanker, and today I wanted to discuss with you the horoscope of China, a very important player in the international scenario. So, what does the country or the consciousness of the country think as what are they going to move? I mean, here we treat the country as a person and what is the consciousness of the country. And while I discuss, I also talk about the planets and certain other things which you should also listen to and gives you an idea of how to analyze a chart. Now, in the case of China, if the first thing which comes and the details which of China which are there published and which have been used repeatedly, date is 1/10/1949, time is 1550, and Beijing. So that is the importance is to the date which is there, and the time is fairly accurate, which I've tried to see it from various places. Now, the first thing which strikes to me in the case of China is that China was over the last period of 18 months was in a period where it stuck. I mean, the clock had come, and exactly it was like 12 o'clock or 6 o'clock. I mean, the minute hand and the second hand were together, and they were planning for a change. And that is what is the change which I would see coming in 2025 after May. Now, that is because of my study of Rahu, which is important when you analyze countries like China or any country, Rahu and Ketu, that it was a clock, last year was a period when, the clock was on each other, it's like both the needles coming together or both the needles being apart, but they are coming together, in terms of this thing. It's like, and it's now the period for action for them. It's a period of where they would act. After coming to a conjunction, it's a period of, getting away. So that's the right word I would use. After getting into conjunction, एक साथ होने के बाद ये समय आ गया है that that actions would happen as far as they are concerned. Now, what I feel the most important thing which the China would be focusing on till, let's say, May, and then after May. Till May, the focus would be more on strategy. It will be more on how to do speculation, what to do intelligently in terms of talking to people, how to strategize the international events. That would be the main focus till about May. Focus also would be on strategy. Focus would be on finance. So I would say strategy, finance, having a speculative motive, and a gamble. The whole idea would be, let's take the gamble. So that is what is going to be till May. The thought process of the country or the consciousness of the country would be in 3 words. I would say is strategy, take a gamble, and to do that, what you should do, with the main focus being on finance, money, and people. But the main would be finance, and the whole attitude would be very fixed. They would do it very slowly, very intelligently, very patiently, very keenly, and in a very focused way. That would be till May. You would see that the country would not react. It would, it would be more positive in its approach. It could look as if it's being very nice to things, but behind everything is a gamble, a strategy, a financial perspective. So that is what is going to be till May, June. After that, this from June to December would be a period which I would say where a lot of focus will be on international, on other countries, on other people. But the focus would be on towards how to give money. They would be actually doing something where money would be flowing out. They would give money, and it could be even to the African countries or to countries around. Flow of money would take place. They would give debts. They would give debts. There is also a reason for me to believe that giving debts, communication, would be a key factor which would be there from May to December 2025. And with the whole approach of becoming a power, China's horoscope shows to me with Moon and Mars opposite to each other in Capricorn, and Mars being debilitated, is China will, I feel, will never come in the front to have war. It will not be an Israel, or it won't be a country which would come in the front to engage war with anybody. But it will always show, yeah, I have the power, I can do it, I can help somebody else, I can, disbalance things. The power is there, but it will never come to actually fight. It will never come to it throwing a missile or it fighting. China themselves fighting, I don't think that would ever be there. That is my view. But the whole approach of this year would be to create that kind of a bhram, that kind of a situation where the country is recognized as a power which is at the back, which has everything. It is there for you. That is what is the whole strategy which will happen, which they would do in the period of June to December as a country. As far as their own this thing is concerned, they would be in a way that they would say, okay, let there be a little risk, let us be slow. They would feel that it is better to slow things, better to take a step backwards for about 7, 8, 9 months in the year 2025, with the attitude that the whole thing would lead to an increase in business multifold in the next year, in 2026, or in the last quarter of 2025. So there will be a kind of a approach where a step will be back, but that would be an illusion. I again repeat, the country will be very, very focused on gains. It will be very focused on international politics. And when it comes to international politics, then there is an effect of Rahu there, which shows that it will do everything out of the box to create its international supremacy around in a way which will have the policy of business, and I would explain it, business with, where in this year they would do business but also divide business. So fortune of their own self, they would increase by going ahead doing business but also dividing business. So perhaps they would make trade zones, because also related to my initial thing, the whole strategy would be step back, money, become a power. So there would be a little stepping back, strategizing, but with the whole perspective will be to how to make itself a power where it can be, where it does business, and it does business in zones whereby it controls the international politics. That is how it will be. It will seemingly show that it has gone back, it has become silent, but that will not be the actual motive behind it. This I say because technically speaking, when Jupiter transits Gemini, it energizes other sign, which is of Virgo. So when Jupiter energizes Gemini, it energizes Virgo. That is a Kanya, where they have retrograde Mercury, Sun, and Ketu, which shows business. Mercury retrograde is very powerful. It shows going all out for doing business. It also shows that it wants power. It wants to be there at any cost. And Ketu means cutting. That's why I say it will compartmentalize international business. And since this is the ninth house from Lagna, it also shows the whole attitude will be for making money and finance. That is what I see China in 2025. Importance also will be to Saturn, which is then 8th house. So anything which is to do with minerals, minings, metals, that would take a forefront. And ahead of your Jupiter, which energizes both Leo and both Gemini and Virgo. Saturn comes here; it energizes this Capricorn. Rahu moves towards towards the house backwards now in the month of April, May. So Rahu actually moves to Aquarius again. So Rahu also comes here. So when Rahu and Saturn come together in the second house, it means ultimately it will be able to, by the year end, establish itself internationally, whereby it will be able to generate huge money. So that is what I see very clearly in the horoscope, in this thing. And with Venus being strong, so the whole thing would be more would be on infrastructure, metal, mining, anything under the earth, nuclear, etc. And with also Venus getting very powerful means business, and also in terms of international relationship, because I see Rahu coming in the second house, which is nothing but house of Venus, which is the house of electronics, telecommunication, food. So electronics, telecommunication, the area of food, the areas of mines and minerals would be extremely important. And just to conclude the whole thing, what I see happening, and in conclusion for China, is that it is going to, for 2-3 months, step back, strategize, be very intelligent, then start dialogues, communications, computers, who are contacts and communication with the international world. With this contacts and communication, it will be able to do huge businesses where it will make zones across the world, which will be good for it in terms, and these zones will be made for the future to generate huge amount of money as finances. Focus would be on electronics and allied things. Electronics also, it will be Venus, so it would be more on things like AI, media, anything which is which has a show, which is pruned and made better to look at. That would be the whole thing. And focus would also be on mines and minerals. Also, it will not be whole strategy would not to come and fight in the front, but be at the back and show that you are powerful and create a system around it. However, the most negative thing which I see is that this year it has to face a lot of enemies. There will be a lot of enemies. It will not be easy. It will be a time when it will have enemies. It will have issues. It will have to go through a little bit of downfalls also, and that would happen. But ultimately, I see in the year, because every country you have to look at a period of 100 years actually, but I'm looking at 1 or 2 years. Ultimately, by next year, you would see them by April, May 2026, coming out as um, as a win. They would win, and as I say, would be able to, make trade zones, which would also become power zones for the country. So this is what is my belief, and my thought. And in terms of the transits of Rahu and Ketu, with Rahu coming to Aquarius and Ketu coming to Leo, it conjuncts the second and eighth house. So ultimately, it will be a country which will try to rule the world by its power to give money, and to structure money, and again to repeat, to make trade zones in a way where this year will be a year where it will have to have difficulties, it will have enemies, but it's a very short period. By next year, April, May, it will be there. It will be a country who will be able to achieve its objectives in the way it wants. So that's my view of China, and as the outlook for China. With this, I end my video. This is Shanker Adawal signing out. You can contact me on my WhatsApp message 9818733,000, or look at my site shankarstudy.com. Thanks. Bye for now.